Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So let's start with our webinar for today. As you people have been informed, everybody is informed that we are going to take QuickBooks software basic training today. We are going to talk about QuickBooks desktop accounting solution, and let's move forward. Today's agenda, we are going to look at a very brief introduction of our company to begin with. We'll start with SETI Computers introduction, then we'll look at a very brief introduction of QuickBooks software, and then we'll move on to the topics for the day. That is creating master data, which will involve creation of a ledger account, a customer, a supplier, a stock item that a company can buy and sell, keep track of. Then we look at a few basic transactions which are required for companies on a day-to-day basis. That will include purchasing, payments, sales, receiving payments from customers, journal entries, and petty cash vouchers. We can discuss a few advanced features which are available in the software, but today's session we might not be able to cover those because we are focusing on the basics today. We'll have the session open for questions and answers. So if any one of you would like to post a question, you will find an option to write your questions in the Q&A, and then we will close this webinar. So starting with SETI Computers LLC, we are a company which started in 2011. We have people here who have been involved in this industry for over 10 years, over 15 years, and who have been involved with accounting solutions and ERP solutions for that duration. We have successfully served 1,000+ clients with different solutions that we offer, as we are authorized partners for QuickBooks, Sage, Tally, and Zoho brands. We have a software support team, and what we bring with us to our audience is the support team comes with an accounting background. So when we are dealing with accountants, auditors, and business owners, and there are questions related to accounting, that's where we come into picture, understand them, and we are able to address those queries accordingly. Apart from that, we also do managed IT solutions. So today we are going to talk about QuickBooks desktop versions. So let me be very clear that there are two types of QuickBooks. One is the online version and one is the desktop version. The desktop version has been in the market for a very, very long time. We still have a lot of audience around who have been using this solution. We have a lot of people out there in UAE who are still buying this solution and using it day to day for their accounting purposes and business reporting purposes. Now, simple things that we need to keep in mind. If you're talking about QuickBooks Desktop, or if you're planning to buy this solution online, or if you're planning to use it for your company, or if you're an accountant who is going to recommend this to a company if you're happy with it, just remember that there are different country editions which are available. The one which was popular before value-added tax came into picture was the US version. And then one that we have right now, which is again very predominantly used here, is the UK and the Canadian edition, which can support tax on purchasing and sales. Then we have the Australian versions, but that is not very common in this market. The next point that the QuickBooks Desktop version that we as audience need to be aware of is that the QuickBooks Desktop is available in different editions. We have a Pro version, a Premier version, an Accountant, and an Enterprise version. Sorry. So we have the editions Pro, Premier, Accountant, and Enterprise. Now, what happens with these versions, or how do they come into picture? The point you need to remember is what is the supported tax type for these editions. For example, the US edition will support only sales tax and not tax on purchases. The UK Canadian edition can support tax on sales and tax on purchases. That's a very basic thing that we need to remember for sure. An Australian version, as it is not very common, I'll skip that for now. Then there are industry specific features, like we have the pro version, which is the basic starting point. Then we have premier version that will come with industry features like for retail, for distribution, for contracting. When we say industry specific features, like when you talk about in retail business, if you're buying and selling products, you will have multiple units of measurement. Let's say you're buying in bulk and you're selling in pieces. You're buying in crates or cartons and you're selling them in pieces or dozens. So that's what we call as multiple units of measurement in accounting software terminology also. Then we have services business, wherein people are offering services. They have projects, they have contracts. So then we have the services industry, wherein you prepare estimations for people, and then you have progressive invoicing. So let's say you're going to invoice them for 10% of the approved contract value, then you're going to invoice them another few percentage based on different milestones. So those all features are supported in the industry specific versions. Then you have the last thing, that is database capabilities, wherein if you take the enterprise version, you get higher limitations on the number of records that you can maintain, you get faster speed, you get scalability options, and so on. So to make this training simple and straightforward and understandable, what we have done is we have prepared a very simple and business scenario. We'll call it a sample for the sample training company that we have, wherein a person, Mr. Investor, has started a new company and he is dealing in mobile phones, sales and services. He has brought in an equity investment, that is the capital he is going to put into the company, of about $1 million dirhams. Then we have a purchase transactions of about 210,000, out of which he pays 170. Then he makes a sale and then he receives money, and he'll spend some money on his office, petty expenses. That's petty cash, from the petty cash. To do that, we'll do it using these following topics. We'll first cover what is there in QuickBooks on the homepage itself. Then what does the QuickBooks software provide in terms of business intelligence or management information systems? Because this is what we are looking for. Ultimately, the goal of any accounting solution in the end is to provide the business owners the reports and the information they need to make decisions on a day-to-day basis or on a long-run basis. Then we'll move on to adding few ledger accounts, a customer, a supplier, a stock item that the company wants to buy and sell, a service item for the service that the company plans to offer and earn revenue across it. And we'll look at the transactions involving those which are related to customer, supplier, and other transactions. So starting with the home page, when we open the QuickBooks software, okay, at this point I would like to just bring this to your attention, that we will be looking at the live software also along with this PPT. Okay, so this PPT is only like a guideline, and then we'll show you the software, the look and feel, and how it works actually. So the homepage allows the end user to see the company workflow, that is the workflow of the transactions. Now this is a homepage from a Premier Edition, so you can see suppliers and the transactions related to them. You can see customers and customer related transactions. On the right side, if you see, there are company related activities like accounts, inventory items, stock activities. And then at the bottom right, we have banking activities wherein people can do bank reconciliations and record transactions which are related to bank or cash. On the left side, you have a menu, collapsible menu, which gives you the options of having your own shortcuts. So this is where the ease of use of the solution comes in. You have the option of running your favorite reports, so you don't need to navigate the entire system to quickly find information related to what is specific to you. You can create those reports as your shortcuts. So ultimately what happens is you get the information at a click. Again, this is very important. The ease of use is important even for every stakeholder, especially the business owners, because it is not necessary that every business owner is an accountant. So they need to be able to see this. So that's what QuickBooks provides. Then we have dashboards. Now the same information which is available in terms of reporting is also available in terms of dashboards. And this is very important. Again, as an end user and a business owner, you would like to see, or the owner would like to see, the information in a format which he or she can understand easily. So this is what QuickBooks can provide, not will it, can provide. So there is a graphical representation of management information systems, that is in terms of company related dashboards, where you can see income expense trends, income breakdown, top customers, top selling items. Then you have payments dashboards, which are related to the payments that you need to receive from customers. This is important for the health of the organization, that the cash flow is maintained properly. Then you have customer related dashboards, that is wherein you can quickly, scan through a customer's complete activity. So let's quickly, have a look at the software now. So if you see this screen, this is the home page. So here you have the workflow, you have the shortcuts for the activities. On the left side, you have a menu variant which can be customized by the end user. And then if you look at the dashboard, so you have company related dashboard, wherein you can see income and expense trends, customers, suppliers, top selling items, critical balances. Then you have a payments related dashboard, which is more related to cash inflows. And then you have customer related dashboards, which takes care of giving you information of any particular customer that you select. This is also important because you have an end customer and you're talking to them and you want to see a complete history, like what are the invoices with them, what are payments, how are they performing in terms of sales for your company, which are the items that they buy from you on a regular basis, this kind of information. Coming back to the presentation. So as this is an accounting system, the first and the most basic thing that we'll need to do is set up the general ledger or the chart of accounts. So this can be accessed using the menu bar, homepage, or a shortcut key called Control A. So let's say I can use the company menu bar and say chart of accounts, or I can use it directly from my homepage on the right side, wherein I can click chart of accounts. When I click a master option, the system will open this chart of accounts list for me right now, or the ledger list, wherein I can right click and say new. This is where I get an option to choose one of the account types which is provided by the system. So you don't need to build everything from scratch. The software is designed in a way to help you get up and running faster. So let's say we want to create an expense. So on the right side, it even tells you what is this expense category used for. Moving on, if you still want to change your account type, you can do that. This is the screen where it will actually get created. So here you have an account number that you can specify, create an account. I'm creating an account by the name of Office Utilities. You can give it a description, you can subgroup your accounts, and then save the screen and close. So let's say coming back to the presentation, what we just did was we accessed the chart of accounts, and then from the list we just simply right click and say new, and we were able to select the account type, select the account name, give it an account number, enter a description. The most important part here is the ones which are highlighted in blue, which is the account type and account name. Rest of the things are optional for the end user. A simple note at this point, since the software is designed to be accessed from multiple ways, so there are multiple screens in the solution which can be accessed in this way. We are going to show or look at a few ways of accessing this. There could be still more shortcuts available built in the system that the user can also use from time to time based on their preferences. If you're a keyboard friendly person, or if you want to use it more with mouse, you can decide how you want to do that. Now the next thing that you would like to create in the software, for example, if I want to have a transaction with a customer, the first thing I would need to do is create that customer in my database. So again, there are different ways of doing it. we can do it through the menu bar, the homepage itself, or as a shortcut key. So let's go back to the homepage. Here we can click on the customers, straightforward. The system will bring you to the list of customers which are already created in the system. So if you want to add somebody new, right click and just say new customer. Okay, in this case, I want to just open this and show you what we have done. We have created a company by the name of ABC Mobile Phones LLC. As given in the initial scenario, we are looking at a company in this training purpose which is dealing in mobile phones and providing services for it. You can fill this information page with as much information you would like. On the left side, you have different tabs related to payments, related to value-added tax, wherein you can define that, okay, you're dealing in standard rated tax with this particular client. Maybe they're based in UAE, so you're going to charge them 5%. This is their VAT number. Additional information if you would like to save, what is the customer type, or who is the sales representative responsible for this customer, or if you want to add your own information. And important part here is on the right side of, there is a currency, in the currency in which you would like to deal with them or you will be transacting with them. This is important and this cannot be changed. There are a few things which are critical which you need to understand from a systems perspective also. So what we have here is we have a customer center or customers option wherein you can right click and say a new customer, and this is what we saw just now in the software, wherein you can add a customer name, the information about the currency, and address, payments, VAT, etc. Now, a few things to note here. The customer name, that one on the top, needs to be unique. You cannot have duplications there. Then the selection of currency is very important, and filling in the required info in different tabs. So whatever is important, for example, at this point, VAT is definitely important. So you would like to fill in the TRN number in this case. Then exactly similar to your customers is your supplier screen. So you go to the supplier center, you click on a new supplier, and then you'll be able to fill in the information. Let me show you in the system also. Going back to the home page, you can do it through the menu bar or you can do it from the home page itself. Let's say we want to right click on this and say a new supplier. So you get the screen wherein at this point the currency can be selected, but the moment the supplier is created and there are transactions which have been entered with the supplier, the currency gets grayed out. So that's why it's important to make sure the currency selection is right. Now, here you can put in a supplier name, a company information, contact information, payment information, if you want to maintain the credit limit with them, VAT related information, and so on. So going back to the PPT, so what we have seen, the points are similar to customers. So customer suppliers, this is where again the ease of use comes into picture. So as easy it is to create a customer, once the end user knows how to do it, they'll be easily able to do the same for the suppliers or vice versa. Now the most important and the critical factor from an accounting and inventory perspective is the stock item. Now for stock item, let's look at the software. I can go to the items and services on the right side, or I can access it from the lists also. I can right click and say a new item that I want to create at this point. And if you see, there is a drop down, which is an important part. There are different types of items you can create, like a service item, that is for the services that the company is providing, a stock part, for that is the item which the company is buying and selling on a regular basis. In this case, if we are dealing in mobile phones, the mobile phones will become the stock part that the company would be interested in buying, tracking, and selling mobile phones. Similarly, there are other types which can be discussed at more advanced levels also, or if it is something that is very necessity for from the audience perspective, please drop in a point in Q&A, we'll have a look at it. So let's look at a stock part which we have created. We are talking about an iPhone X or iPhone 10 with FaceTime, silver color, 256 GB, 4G LTE. So this is a unique item code that has been created to identify the product. And the software also has the ability to group the items. So we have grouped it under Apple mobile phones for now. You can enter a manufacturer part number. You can enter how you're planning to buy and sell this. Whether, like example, phones are bought and sold in pieces, or if a company is dealing in food products and they are buying it in kgs, tons, so you can mention that. Then you can give a detailed description. The item name obviously is a short code for you to identify the item quickly, but on the invoice or on the purchases, you want to print the proper item description, which will give more details about the item. So that can be typed here. Then you specify what is the cost of the item. In this case, we have taken 2000 as an example per piece. What is the value added tax code which is associated with it? If tax is required, then yes, it's a standard rated SR. Cost of sale account, you can mention a preferred supplier. You can have a preferred selling price, and you need to link it to your appropriate income account. In this case, we have linked it to our sales of products. Now, this would typically depend on companies' requirements, like how do they want to do the linking. From our experience, so like implementing the software for multiple and lots of companies, we have seen, and we generally also try to recommend these practices to the end user based on industry standards, based on the most accepted methodologies available in the market. And the last thing, you need to map it to your balance sheet stock account. So that's how an item is created, pretty straightforward. The same way service is also created. If you remember, the first thing that I mentioned when you create an item is what type of item you want to create. For a service, the type will change to service instead of stock part, which you can see on the top left, which is grayed out right now. So you can create or give it an item name or number and give it a description of what you want to print on your sales invoices. And again, link it to the appropriate ledger account. In this case, the ledger account we have selected is revenue from services. So we have two accounts here, sales of products and revenue from services. Okay, so this is what we saw. There are multiple ways. So here, if you see from lists menu, also you can access it using the item list. The moment you come into the item creation option, the pink highlighted blocks will tell you from there you can still access and create a new item, edit an item. There are other options also available, which is like duplicate an item. So for example, if you want to create an iPhone X, silver grade 256, then you want to create a 128, then you want to create XYZ, whatever stock item which the company is buying and selling. You can simply duplicate an item and change the information that is required instead of creating everything from scratch all the time. So, again, the ease of use and the speed is coming into picture right now. So the time spent on, these activities is pretty less. So important points to note here, the type, in this case, we have used stock part for stock items. You need to enter a unique item name or number that is on just below the item type, you can see that field. And there are 3 accounts which need to be mapped as required. Maybe in our more detailed and advanced sections where we can handle inventory in more detail, discuss what are these accounts used for, how they need to be set up or mapped, and how they will impact your MIS in the end. Then we look at service items wherein you can again access the same thing from the same screens. The only thing that changes here is the type. So if you look at the notes, the type is service. You still need to enter a unique item name, and there is one revenue account which can be mapped here for the service that you are providing. Now, let's get into using the software from accounting transactions perspective. The first thing that we are going to take you through is making a purchase and a payment. This will involve creating a purchase order or sending a purchase order to the supplier, receiving the items and entering the bills against those purchase orders, and then finally making the payment to the supplier for this particular purchase that you have done. To start with, we'll begin with the purchase orders. Now, I'll frequent between PPT and the software itself, because this is the environment, the software itself, where people are going to use it. So if you see, we can go to suppliers and say create purchase orders, or from the home page itself, I can access this purchase orders button, wherein you have the option of selecting the supplier, selecting the stock item that you are buying, in what quantity, at what rate, and for what amount. So we have prepared a sample to save time for now. So here we have selected a supplier. This is just an example. So we have just taken the liberty of creating names like Apple Distribution UAE LLC. There is a transaction date. This purchase order was placed on 3rd of June. This is the PO number, which is automatically generated by the system. So the next purchase order will automatically be 2. This is the supplier information, and this is the delivery information. We want the delivery to be at this place. So this can change. You can have multiple addresses where the deliveries can be shipped. Then we go on to select an inventory item from here. The description comes automatically. You enter what quantity you're buying or you're intending to buy, since this is a purchase order, and what is the cost of each of this unit. So 2,000 so 100 pieces at 2,000 each. So we have a 200,000 in the amount. The VAT, since we have already mapped the VAT codes, which are standard rated in this case, which will calculate 5%. So you can see that there is a total amount of VAT which is populating at the bottom, which is 10,000 in this case. You have an option to enter supplier messages if you want to put anything important, or you can even have memos for your internal recording purposes. So later on, when you open this document, you can know exactly what memo say. So this is how you create a purchase order. Now, if you have a look on the top side, we have few ribbons here. These are like different options which are available at this time. You can use them. They are pretty self-explanatory, or again, we can do more advanced sessions wherein we can see how best we can utilize these options. So once the purchase order is created, a sample screenshot. In this case, I've highlighted the entire purchase order here because everything is important. These are accounting transactions. So ideally, a customer would, or the end user who's using the software, would want to ensure that they are entering the right information. Please note that you need to check all the details here, since it's important, especially the VAT code. And for ease of use and for speed and more accuracy, even you can use the shortcuts which are available on top. For example, a customer has made this purchase order, and after 15 days or 30 days, you want to replicate this purchase order, or you want to buy this similar item. Now, it might be easy for one item in this case, but if you have a list of items, maybe 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, and you want to replicate this PO, you can simply use the option of create a copy. So this will, you can see how this will save time. If you took 10 minutes to make one document, the second document you might just spend 2 minutes with all the same information. And again, once you create a copy, you have the option of modifying it, maybe adding a few more items, removing few items, changing the quantities, changing the rates. It's as good as a blank document, but with some information which is preferred. The next transaction in this line will be the purchase bill. So let's say we made this purchase order, we send it to the client, you printed it out, handed it over to them, you send them by email, whichever way it's relevant, and they have sent you the goods and you have received the invoice for it. So you go to enter bills. The moment you select a supplier, there is a message will pop up saying that you have open purchase orders against the supplier. So in this case, we have recorded a bill from the same supplier. What it does is it will again populate all the information from the purchase order onto the bill. Now, I think I'll take an example in this case. I'll take the liberty of creating one quick purchase order for Samsung Distribution UAE LLC. Let's say the company decided to start dealing in Samsung brand too. Now, just to show you the ease of use, we have not created any mobile phone related to Samsung yet. So I can simply click on add new option. This is again a shortcut. So instead of going back, deleting the entire document, doing it again, I can, from the same screen, I can jump into creation of a new stock item. Okay, let me just copy this. Okay, maybe I want to create an item which is Galaxy Note 10 Aura Glow 8 GB RAM and 256 GB, 4 GB LT. Now I want to again group these items. Same thing like Apple mobile phones, I want to create something called Samsung mobile phones. So that is also possible from the same screen. So this, what this does is the software supports multiple screens to make it easier for the end user. So again, I'm using very basic information because this is only a group. I don't want to specify more details about it right now. There is a spell check now. So if there is any mistake, if you think you need to correct it, you can do it at this stage. Now my Galaxy Note is grouped under Samsung mobile phones. So this is ordered in pieces. Maybe I'm buying this for 2,300 and selling it for 2,400. My stock item is created. So I want to make a purchase order for this item. Let's say I want to buy 200 pieces. So 4,600 and the VAT here is 23,000 calculated automatically. So let's save and close this. So now we are looking at entering a bill. So we have received the shipment of these Galaxy Note mobile phones. So I can simply go to the bill, select my supplier, and the system tells me that I have open purchase orders for the supplier. We want to receive against one or more of these orders. So if you have placed more orders and they are sending you a shipment with multiple orders, let's say you ordered Galaxy Note 10 and send a separate PO for Galaxy phones and then separate a PO for tablets, and you want to receive all at once, that is also possible. So now what I have is a list of purchase orders. I'll select it, and as you can see, everything which has been filled, which was filled in the PO, is automatically popped in the screen. We supplier invoice number at this stage, the date, amount, verify that, enter an internal memo, Samsung Note 10 purchases or whatever you deem relevant, and then you save it and close. Done. So within, let's say, a minute or two, we created a purchase order, we added a new inventory item, and we were able to record the bill also against it. So that's what we did. We entered bills, we selected the supplier, we got a prompt of selecting the purchase orders, and we did that. So here, note that you get an option to receive against a PO. PO is a purchase order. You can say yes or no. So if you don't want to receive it against the purchase order, that is also possible. You can ignore that message. And ideally, you would want to check the bill number and the bill amount. And the last step in the supplier transaction window is the payment. So let's say we have created a supplier bill right now for Samsung distribution. So let's pay that bill. So the moment I click on pay bills, I get a list of all my supplier invoices with their due amounts. So here you can see that we have a bill from Samsung distribution for 480,000. So 483,000. So it's up to you how much amount the company is paying at this stage. So let's say we are paying them right now maybe 150,000. So we can enter a partial amount. Then you select the date of payment. What is the payment method? Whether it's going to be paid by cash, check, transfer. Let's say this is a check. I want to assign a check number, and I'll select that. Okay, this is being paid from my RACBank current account. So you can have multiple accounts. You can pay from multiple transactions from different accounts. It's all possible. So let's say pay selected bills, and the system is asking me what is the check number. Let's say maybe this is my check number. I'll say okay. Done. So as you can see, we just went to pay bills option. We selected a supplier invoice. We selected an amount to pay, and then we selected at the bottom a payment date and from which account we are doing. The system asked us about the check number, we did that, and that's it. Here. Now, we will move on to the sales and customer payment point. If you have seen the supplier transactions flow, the customer transaction flow will be similar. Here we have customers who wants to buy. So the company is delivering those products and in the end raising invoices and generating revenue and getting cash inflows from it. So to start with, we have, now it's an option, we want to create an estimate from or a quotation that can be done. So you go to the estimates part. If you look at the screen, also they're similar. So there is nothing hidden or popping up from time to time. It's whatever is there, it's in front of you. And very basic questions will be asked to the end user. That's how even an accountant who is new to the system will be able to adapt it faster. A business owner who might not have an accounting knowledge, but if the system is set up for him, they can start using it immediately. So if you look at the purchase screen or the sales screen, again, they will look very similar. You select a customer here, you say there is a date. In this case, we have given an estimate number that is a starting number. So it will add 1 to this so that the numbering is automatic. Then you move on to select an item which you are giving a quotation for. So here it will tell you that, okay, this is your cost of this item. You have an option to enter a markup. Since it's an estimation you are doing or a quotation you want to send, if you want to play around with the markup, you can do that. Or if you want to directly enter the selling price, that is also possible. You can even enter the direct amount, that's also possible. So we are sending an estimate or a quotation to a customer. That is for 20 pieces of iPhone X with FaceTime at 2,000 plus 10% markup. In that case, that would become 2,200 as a selling price. And the VAT is again calculated automatically based on the tax type. So let's look at one sample preview. So this is how a standard estimate looks like. Where you have the basic items that they want to buy, the items that you are quoting them, the cost of it, and there is a tax summary at the bottom. That's how the FTA wants it. There is a subtotal to VAT amount and the total amount, your company TRN. Now these forms are customizable. So generally, what even we do is we put the customer's logo, the header, footer, change the format, change the colors. All that can be done very easily. So that's an estimate. So moving on, so if you look at it, we created an estimate for a customer ABC mobile phones. And just in the notes, if you see the rate is the cost price, markup can be entered as a percentage or a value, whatever is easier for the end user. Again, if you just want to put a markup of, example in this case, 5,000, you can just put the value 5,000. So the amount will become 40,000 plus 45,000. And then again, you make use of the shortcuts which are available on top. Like we discussed one in the purchase order, you can create a copy of the estimate also. The next step is, let's say we have given the quotation, the customer has approved it, and you want to raise an invoice and send them the product. So you go to create invoice, you select the customer, the system will again prompt you. There in suppliers, it was prompting you to select a purchase order. Here it can prompt you to select an estimate which you have already created. You select that and the information from the estimate will come here automatically. Okay. Additionally, if you want to put in the PO number or something, that can be done. So the VAT gets calculated automatically. And the total amount you can see at the bottom. Again, you can have a preview of the invoice. Now in this case, we have recorded more information. So we see, okay, we have purchase order number, we have payment, we have and so on. So moving on, we have now seen the invoice. So we have amount to be received from the end user. what we saw in the sales invoice was creating an invoice that could be done by selecting an estimate and then prepare an invoice, enter additional information which is relevant for the invoice, like the purchase order number or anything, shipping information. You also have the option of entering different addresses. So if the same customer is buying it from, or the same customer wants you to ship it to different locations, you can do that. Then the next option, in the suppliers, we did bills and payments. In the customers, we have customer invoices and we have receive payments. So the receive payments option is also straightforward. You go to receive payments from the home page or from the menu bar, whatever is more easier. You select the customer and then the system will pop up the information which is related to their due invoices. So for example, in this case, we have an invoice. The original amount is 46,200. We have already prepared a receipt. So that's why the amount due has now reduced. It has become 21,200. So if I want to receive more amount from this customer, I can receive it to the extent of 21,200. Okay, let me open the receipt, which was already done. So when we do this receipt for the first time, we prepared one amount of 25,000 that we received from the client. So the amount due was 46,200. Payment amount was entered on the screen. And the system will ask us a question here. What do you want to do with the underpayment of 21,200? You leave this as an underpayment so that you can receive money from the client later on. Or in case if there is a fills difference, for example, let's say the amount was 21,201 and they gave you 21,200. So you just want to write off the extra 1 dirham. You can do that also from here. So this is the customer payment screen. Okay. A quick question to the audience at this stage. So we have seen how things have been working. So in QuickBooks, so there is a small question about taxes in QuickBooks. If you see, it will pop up on your screen right away right now. If you can quickly answer this or let us know, it will give us an idea. I would request all the audience to just take a quick second and just answer this, whether you can track tax on purchases and tax on sales in QuickBooks or no. We'll just wait for 30 seconds here for the audience to answer the question so that we get a poll result of the same. Okay, great. So we have got a result here wherein we asked a question, can you track tax on sales and tax on purchases using QuickBooks software? We have got 55% of the audience have voted yes. Nobody has voted no, but there are audience who would like to know about this. Okay, great. So the answer is yes. I'll just quickly recap. So this was the question time. Let me go back to the QuickBooks software. On the selling side, the customer side, it's pretty straightforward. Everybody would know that there is a tax which is getting calculated because we have a VAT option here, which will capture the tax amount. So this is the total VAT which has been captured here. Similarly, on the purchase bills, we have the tax option. So if you see this, you can select the tax code on the purchase transactions, which will calculate the VAT amount for the purchase bill also. I hope this addresses the query that the people would like to know whether QuickBooks can calculate tax on purchase and on sale. The answer is definitely yes. And if I can take the liberty of just moving away from the topic a little bit, we have a tax report here wherein purchases amount, the VAT on sales and VAT on purchases is calculated by the system. So this is possible. You can track your value added tax in the software. I hope this will address the query of people who have voted that they would like to know whether QuickBooks can do this tax calculation. Yes. Yes, the answer is yes. Great. So moving on, thank you for that response. Appreciate. Now the last segment or the last part of our today's webinar, we have got 10 minutes to wind it up. I think we have enough time to do that. We'll quickly look at the other transactions, which is one thing which is very basic for any accounting software is a journal entry that can be accessed from the menu bar using the company's menu. I can go to the company, select make general journal entries, and I'll be in the standard format of entering a journal entry. Now in this case, if you see, like any accountant, you would be required to select a ledger account and the amount that's need to be debited, another ledger account, an amount that needs to be credited, or you can have multiple lines with multiple debits and credits. So here, sorry, coming back to this point, this is straightforward transaction. Now what happens is, so this is a manual journal entry. So ideally this would be used only in very rarely, to be honest. Because when you make a sales transaction, when you receive money, when you're making a purchase, making a payment, the system is automatically doing the journal entries for those transactions in the backend. So you don't have to worry about the accounting implications for that. But if at all there is a transaction wherein you still need to use a journal entry, you can do that by accessing company and make general entries option. So I'll share a few examples where this could be useful. Depreciation entries, let's say, if we don't have a fixed assets module, this is where it can come in. If the company is making prepayments, let's say we are paying for the rent in advance, we're paying the rent for 3 months for the office in advance. So you want to book it like a prepayment and then make sure that every month the exact rent amount comes into the balance in your profit and loss. For that purpose, you can use it. And then you can use it for your provisions and accruals purposes. That your auditor also might want you to do it. And the last transaction that we have is write checks option. So this write check option is available in the banking side from the menu bar or on the home page directly. So we can go to the banking menu, select from here, or we can directly do it from the home page. Okay, so we'll select it from here in this case. So this is a place which can be this is just, let's say, a payment option, but that can also be used for your petty cash expenses. So ideally, all your petty cash, you would want to put it in one place, so you can use this option. So you're selecting a petty cash account. You can select the expenses. Let's say in this case, you have selected office canteen, and we are buying food items for the canteen. And again, the tax is available even for this purpose. So whether you want to, account for the tax or no. In this case, we have selected that this is out of scope of VAT. That is, we are not claiming tax on this, and we are just entering 150 dirhams as a total expense in this case. And you can just save and close. So that's what we have. So this option can be used for petty cash expenses, simply put, and then you can record all your general expenses, even the ones for which you don't want to create a supplier and enter a bill, then make a payment, you can do it from here. The bank account is also an option. For example, if you are paying for something from the bank account directly, you can even select your bank account instead of petty cash. And last but not the least, here we have the report center. So initially, when we started the presentation, we discussed that, as business owners, everybody wants to see the information in the way that is very presentable. Now, QuickBooks is very good with its reporting. If you look at it, we have a report center that can be seen in a different way, first of all, to start with, wherein you can have the option of looking at the previews right away before selecting a report to run. Or if you just want to see multiple options, that can be done. Or if you just want to see it like a list, that can be done. Or otherwise, you can quickly come here and select the report that you want. So let's look at one or two reports to see what is the power or what is the benefit that we get out of entering data in QuickBooks. So now we are looking at a profit and loss for the month of June, from 1st to 6th June. For this month to date, you have an option to see it for the year, for the month, for last year, or for any particular period that you want, by even selecting the dates which are applicable to you. So let's say I want to see it for this financial year, even though I have the same information because we have recorded only one or two purchases and one sale and one expense. Now, what happens is any software can do this particular part very easily, that, okay, we have this profit and loss available that can tell you the company's health in terms of profitability. Now, what can we do furthermore with this profit and loss? Let's say we have recorded a sales representative while doing a sales invoice, and the company wants to know how the sales representatives are performing. You can simply come here and select that we want to see the columns by rep. Immediately, the sales rep who was mentioned in the invoice, now we have a profit and loss by each sales representative in the company. Similarly, if you want to see profitability by customer, even that is possible. If you want to see profit and loss for the company itself, but maybe you want to see it on a quarterly basis, so you just select the option of quarter. Because we have selected this financial year, now we have Jan to March, similarly all the 4 quarters right in front of us. So what this does for you, it gives you a comparison. It gives the business owners or the decision makers a comparison. As a business owner, you can see the health, you can see the seasonality. As an accountant, you can see that, okay, I've got this office canteen expense which is coming only in this month and not in other months. Or let's say some people ask, what if you forget to record a transaction? So when you look at these kind of reports, you are getting an information, you can see trends. So that can help you identify from your own perspective whether there is something missing or everything is in order. That is the power of the solution. All the reports can be exported to Excel. They can be emailed directly from here. They can be printed out or saved as PDF. For all the options. Again, the customization option is available. Let's say you have a profit and loss report and you want to compare it with your previous year, or you just want a percentage of income, can be done. So for example, let me simplify it. So it's 90.9% of my sale value. My expenses are currently 0.3%. My net profit is 8.8% of my total sale. So I'm getting my important ratios and numbers directly from the report on the click on the go. That is the power of reporting in QuickBooks. Similarly, we have reports related to customers, like customer aging. Which customer owes you how much amount? Again, you have reports related to suppliers. So you have supplier aging. To which supplier you owe what amount at this point in time. Also, you might see there is a drill down functionality. Let's say I want to see that 40,000 invoice from Apple Distribution, which invoice it is. I can drill down and open and have a look at the invoice which was entered earlier. So that's where the ease of use, ease of access, or the speed at which you can access comes into picture. So that's what we did with the report center. And you can browse to any report from this menu and you can customize these reports for yourself. Well, that's all we have. Your opinion counts for us. So hopefully we were able to start and end it in the time frame that was allotted for this webinar. In the end, I would like to thank you. You've been a wonderful audience. Please share your feedback. We'll drop you an email with a feedback form. That will help us improve, and that will also help us get new topics for the future, which could be beneficial for a lot of people. And at this point, as we still have a few minutes, let's see if we have a Q&A section, wherein if we have questions that I can read and quickly answer. In chart of accounts, can we see preview? Yes, we can do that. Since grouping is allowed, we can do that. Now, if I have to quickly show it to you. So let's say this is your chart of accounts, and if at all you have grouped something under, let me group office like this. Or I simply drag and drop, in fact, forget about it. So it's pretty simple and straightforward, no complications here. And could you please send us a link for the video? I think Mr. Yusuf has been active and he's been responding to most of the questions. Is there an option to change the VAT percentage? Yes. Is there an option to change the VAT codes? Yes. If I need customer collection cover invoices, bank charges, forex, you can pass necessary entries for that also. How to add VAT option in taskbar? Okay, I'll need some more information. What do you mean by taskbar, or how you want to add it in the taskbar? Because we have the VAT option in the menu here itself, wherein which you can use and manage your VAT, change the codes, change the percentages. In my software, there is no VAT option. As we discussed, there was a slide in the beginning. Okay, let me quickly jump to that slide. So we have QuickBooks from different desktop versions. So we have US, UK, Canada. First of all, you need to identify which version you are using. Let me help you with that. You can simply go to help and click on about QuickBooks. This can tell you, okay, it's popping on the first screen, so you cannot see it, but this can tell you that this is from, give you some information about the software that you're using. If you want, you can share this information with us by email. We can tell you exactly what it is, or you can give access to one of our colleagues. They can help you identify the same. There are queries related to trial versions. Yes, there are trial versions available. Again, we'll have a feedback form. If you need this, just let us know. We can share the trial software links with you guys. So you can install it yourself. It works for 30 days. You can try it yourself. But that comes with a sample data. So you need to play around with the database a little bit to understand it, or we are available at your service. Our company specializes in this. So if you need us to help you with this, we can do that also. That's it. I think it's 3:30. So again, once again, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for joining the session today. We hope you liked it. Please share your feedback, and we'll be ending the session now. Thanks a lot.